Hello again, folks. Welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 51, and we have APBA baseball on the table tonight. This is a continuation of the 1994 double elimination tournament that I'm conducting using the 8 teams that I've acquired for APBA from the 1994 strike season. This is a double elimination tournament and 20-man rosters. And we're using APBA basic rules as I learn the game and continue to get better handling the boards and just learning the mechanics of the game. Let's take a quick look at the bracket so far. Of course, we've only played one game, and that had the Phillies defeating the Angels 13-8. So the Phillies will take on the winner of this game. This is game number 2, with the Tigers traveling to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. And the loser of this game will face the Angels in Game 5, which will be an elimination game down in the loser bracket. I'm going to conduct these games in the order designated by printyourbrackets.com, where I obviously printed up the brackets for this game. Okay, so let's get to the starting lineups for tonight's game. This game is in St. Louis, so there aren't any... Well, the pitchers will bat. There's no DH. All right, leading off for the Tigers. Left fielder, T. Phillips, batting second at second base. Lou Whitaker, batting third at third base. Travis Fryman. Batting fourth at first base is Cecil Fielder. Batting fifth is the catcher, Mickey Tettleton. Batting sixth, Junior Felix. He's in right field. Batting seventh is Chris Gomez, and he's at shortstop. Batting eighth, Juan Samuel. He's in center field. And batting ninth and pitching is Tim Belcher. He is a right-handed pitcher, grade D, and he has no modifiers. For the home Cardinals, leading off is Bernard Gilkey in left field. Batting second is Ozzie Smith at shortstop. Batting third is Greg Jeffries at first base. Batting fourth, center fielder Ray Langford. Batting fifth, third baseman Todd Zeal. Batting sixth, right fielder Mark Whitten. Batting seventh, Geronimo Pena. He plays second base. Batting eighth, Tom Pagnozzi. He's the backstop. And batting ninth and pitching is Bob Tewksbury. He's also a right-hander. He's a grade C pitcher with a ZZ modifier. Totaled up the defensive points. Detroit's a 32. That makes them a fielding 3. St. Louis is a 38. That makes them a fielding 2. We're using the basic... I guess you'd say fatigue, where pitchers are increased or decreased based on giving up 5 runs in 3 innings of play, 5 earned runs, or not giving up any runs can cause the pitcher's rating to be increased. If you're familiar with APBA, you know those rules much better than I do. Okay, so Tewksbury's ready, T. Phillips is ready, and we are underway. And that is a high hopper, fielded by Ozzie Smith, over to Greg Jeffries for out number 1. There's one away. That brings up Sweet Lou. And that is a infield fly. Ozzie takes it for the second out. There's 2 away. Brings up third baseman Travis Fryman. And that's a chopper past Tewksbury and through for a base hit, so a 2-out single for Fryman. So he's on first with 2 away. And Cecil Fielder coming up. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Tewksbury and the 3rd out of the inning. So after 1/2 inning of play, it's the Tigers nothing and the Cardinals coming up to bat. Oh, wait a minute. 26. It's a 24. That was a mistake. I didn't flip the card over. But it is a 6-4 putout. It is not a strikeout. I apologize for that. 6-4 put out for the 3rd out. And Detroit is still retired. And after 1/2 inning of play, It's the Tigers 0 and the Cardinals coming up to bat. I do apologize once again. Hopefully that's the only mistake I make. All right, leading off Bernard Gilkey. Belcher is ready, so is Gilkey, and here's the pitch. And that is blooped to shallow center, just out of the shortstop Gomez's reach for a single. So Gilkey leads off with a single. There's a man on first with nobody out. Here's the Wizard. And that's a single to center field. That's going to send Gilkey to third base. Ozzie holds up at first, and Cardinals have runners on the corners with nobody out. For Greg Jeffries, Tigers are going to bring the infield in here. And we have 52. And batter's out at first, runner at second and third. Wait a second, hold on. Batter out at first, runners at second and third. So it's a 5-3 putout. That's Fryman over to fielder. Gilkey's held up at third base. Smith does move up to second, and it's second and third with one out for Ray Lankford. Okay. Second and third, one out, Ray Lankford. And that is a 2-run hit to right field. Lankford cruises into second, drives in 2 runs, and the Cardinals lead 2-0. So Lankford's on second. 2 runs are in for Todd Zeal. And that is a 41. And that's an infield pop-up. Gomez calls for that, and that's out number 2. Lankford still at second base. And there's 2 away. Here's Mark Whitten, the right fielder for St. Louis. And that's a foul pop near the bag, and it's taken by third baseman Travis Fryman for out number 3. And the Cardinals are retired, but not before they score 2 runs on Ray Lankford's 2 RBI double. And after 1 inning of play, it's the Cardinals 2 and the Tigers 0. Leading off for the Tigers here in the top of the second is Mickey Tettleton. And that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Tewksbury. And there's 1 away. Here's Junior Felix, right fielder. And that's a base hit to left. It rolls to the wall. It's a stand-up double for Felix. Gilkey throws it into Ozzie Smith, and Felix cruises into second base. The 1-out double. All right, so Felix is on second, 1 out, and Chris Gomez. Tiger shortstop. And a second baseman, Pena, leaps, snags the liner, and the runner is safe at second. He gets back to the bag, Felix, that is. So that's a line out to 4 for out number 2. So Felix on second with 2 outs for Juan Samuel. And that is a high fly to deep left. Bernard Gilkey catches it with ease, and that's the third out. The Tigers do threaten, but leave Felix stranded on second base, and after 1.5 innings, it's the Cardinals 2 and the Tigers nothing. Leading off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the second is going to be Geronimo Pena, the second baseman, Tom Pagnozzi, and then Bob Tewksbury. And that is and that's ball 4. So Belcher walks Pena. He's on, nobody out. For Tom Pagnozzi. And that is a ground ball to Travis Fryman over to... Oh, excuse me. Hold on a second. That's Fryman over to Lou Whitaker over to Cecil Fielder for a 5-4-3 double play. And there are 2 away now. So 2 outs, nobody on for Cardinal pitcher Bob Tewksbury. And he strikes him out. That's the first strikeout for Belcher. And the third out of the inning. So after 2 innings of play, the Cardinals lead 2-0. Tewksbury to face his counterpart here in the top of the third, Tim Belcher. And he strikes him out. That's the second strikeout for Tewksbury. And there's 1 away here in the top of the third. Back to the top of the order in T. Phillips. And that's 2 balls and no strikes from Tewksbury with the ZZ modifier. And that is a base hit to left. It rolls to the wall and a stand-up double for T. Phillips. So Phillips is on second base with 1 away. That brings up Lou Whitaker. Whitaker popped out to shortstop his first time up. And that's a fly to right. It's caught by Witten, and Phillips will hold at second base. So he's at second with 1 out, and Travis Fryman. Fryman singled his first time up. But this is booted by second baseman Geronimo Pena, and that's going to score Phillips on the E4. And it's now 2-1. Fryman, he moves up to second. So we still have a man on second with 1 out, and the score is now 2-1 in favor of the Cardinals. For Cecil Fielder. And he strikes him out. Some nasty off-speed stuff. That's Tewksbury's third strikeout and the second out of the inning. Or excuse me, that's the third out. I apologize. The Tigers do get on the board. And after 2.5 innings of play, it's the Tigers 1 and the Cardinals 2. That run was unearned. So it doesn't affect Tewksbury. All right, here we are, bottom of the third, top of the order for St. Louis and Bernard Gilkey. And that is a ground ball to shortstop. Whoops, wrong chart. Wrong chart. 16, 28. That's a number to the left side. And that's going to be a 6-3 put out for the first out here in the bottom of the third. That's Gomez over the fielder. And there's one away. Here's Ozzie Smith. And that's a number to the left side. And once again, it's Gomez over to fielder for out number 2. 2 outs and nobody on for Greg Jeffries. Last time up, Jeffries grounded out. He's 0 for 1. So 41. And a routine ground ball to shortstop. Gomez was busy this inning. Tosses over to fielder. He was busy as well. And that's out number 3. The Cardinals go 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the third. And after 3 innings, it's the Cardinals 2 and the Tigers 1. Leading off, Mickey Tettleton here in the top of the 4th. And that's 2 balls and no strikes to Tettleton with Tewksbury's double Z. And that's a ground ball to second base. It's Pena over to Jeffries for out number 1. There's one away for Junior Felix. And that's a strikeout. That is strikeout number 1, 2. Strikeout number 4 for Tewksbury, and the second out here in the top of the 4th. 2 outs and nobody on for Chris Gomez. Tiger shortstop. And that's hit hard to Jeffries, but he takes it to the bag himself, and that is an unassisted play by Greg Jeffries for the third out. Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 4th, and after 3.5, it's the Cardinals 2 and the Tigers 1. Leading off for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 4th is center fielder Ray Lankford. And we're going to his second column. And that's a shot to left center off the wall. It skips away from Samuel, and Lankford slides into third with a triple. Lead-off triple for St. Louis. And Todd Zeile coming up. Tigers are bringing the infield in. Man on third, nobody out. And that's a fly ball to right field, medium right field. Felix makes the catch, and here comes Lankford home. And he is thrown out by Felix at home. So that's a fly ball to right field for out number 1, and then a 9-2 put out for out number 2. The bases are empty. Cardinals aggressive on the base paths, and there's 2 outs and nobody on for Mark Whiten. And Belcher strikes him out. That's his second strikeout, and that ends the 4th inning. So the Cardinals certainly threatened there, but Lankford thrown out at home, and the score remains St. Louis 2, Detroit 1. So we go to the top of the 5th, and Juan Samuel is going to lead off. And that's a high hopper, fielded by Ozzie Smith. Tosses over to Greg Jeffries for out number 1. Here's Tim Belcher. And that's laced to the gap, but it's caught by Mark Whiten. Nice defensive play, and that's out number 2. 2 outs, nobody on for T. Phillips at the top of the Tigers' order here in the top of the 5th. And that is a routine fly to Ray Langford in center. And he squeezes it for the out. And that's out number 3. So the Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 5th. And after 4.5, it's the Cardinals 2, the Tigers 1. Leading off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 5th is Geronimo Pena. I do want to mark that error that he had earlier. Okay, Geronimo Pena leads off. And that's a bounder to third base. Travis Fryman has it. And tosses over to Cecil Fielder for out number 1. There's one away for Cardinals backstop, Tom Pagnozzi. Pagnozzi grounded into a double play his first time up. And we're going to his second column on that roll. And that is smashed into the left center field gap, and he'll waltz into second with the stand-up double. Pagnozzi, not the quickest guy, but the ball was hit well enough to get him to second base. So he's on second with 1 out. And Tewksbury coming to bat. All right. So Bob Tewksbury at the plate. And he lays down a bunt. And it's bunted to the left side. The Belcher hops on it, throws to third in time. So they get Pagnozzi trying to advance to third. That's a 1-5 put out. And then the second out of the inning, and Tewksbury reaches on a fielder's choice. All right. So, man on first with 2 outs for top of the order, and Bernard Gilkey. Gilkey is 1 for 2 with a run scored. And that's a chopper to first base. Fielder fields it and tosses over to Belcher covering for the third out. So that's a 3-1 for out number 3. And the Cardinals do not score in the 5th. And after 5 innings of play, the Cardinals lead 2-1. Top of the 6th, leading off for the Tigers, is Lou Whitaker. Whitaker is 0 for 2. And he draws a walk, leadoff walk for Whitaker. So he's on first with nobody out, and Travis Fryman coming to the plate. Oh, wait a second. 14. No, I apologize. He is not walked because I did not flip the chart. With the ZZ modifier for Tewksbury, it is an 0-2 count. Or excuse me, a 2-0 count. 44. But it's a ground ball base hit to right, and he holds at first base. So he does reach first, just not the way I initially determined it. But we got Whitaker on first base with nobody out, and Travis Fryman. All right. See, I'm still working on handling these boards. I hope to continue to get better. Okay. Whitaker on first base, nobody out, and here's Travis Fryman. And that looks like trouble. No, it's a slow roller to third base. Zeal's only play is over to first. And he tosses over to Jeffries for the first out, but that allows Whitaker to move up to second. So he's on second base with 1 out, and Cecil Fielder. All right. And that's a single to left field, and that's going to score Whitaker. And this game is tied. Tied at 2. Fielder gets the RBI. There's a man on first with 1 out. And Mickey Tettleton, Tigers catcher. And that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 5 for Tewksbury. And there are 2 away. For Junior Felix, right fielder. And that's a foul ball. Pop up to catcher Pagnozzi, and he makes the catch for out number 3. The Tigers do score on Fielder's RBI single, and after 5.5, we are tied at 2. Leading off for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th, it's Ozzie Smith. And that is a well-hit drive to right field, but played by Junior Felix for the first out. There's 1 away. Here's Greg Jeffries. Jeffries is 0 for 2. And we are going to his second column. And that's a double to right field. 1 out double puts Jeffries in scoring position for Ray Langford, who hit that triple his last time up. All right, so Jeffries is on second base with 1 out, and Ray Langford at the plate. And that is skied to second base, easy play for Lou Whitaker. And the second out with Jeffries still at second base and Todd Zeile coming to the plate. Zeile is 0 for 2. And that is a towering fly to center field. Easy play for Juan Samuel. And that's the third out here in the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals threaten but do not score. And after 6 innings of play, we're tied at 2. Chris Gomez will lead off for the Tigers here in the top of the 7th. That's a 41. And that's a sharp grounder to Ozzie Smith's left. And he tosses over to Greg Jeffries for the first out. Nice play by Ozzie. There's 1 away. And Juan Samuel. Samuel's 0 for 2. And that is a long, well-hit ball to deep left. It is over Bernard Gilkey's head, out of here, gone, and the Tigers take a 3-2 lead. Up in Big Mac land. All right. So, nobody on. 1 out. Tigers lead 3-2. And that's a strikeout. That's strikeout number 6 for Tewksbury. And the second out of the inning. So there's nobody on, 2 outs for T. Phillips at the top of the Tigers order. And that's a driven to the gap, but Bernard Gilkey makes a nice defensive play for the third out. But the Tigers do score 1 on Juan Samuel's solo shot. And after 6.5 innings of play, it's the Tigers 3 and the Cardinals 2. Mark Whitten will lead off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 7th. And that's a 5-5. And that's a lead-off line drive ripped over the shortstop's head. And that's a lead-off single for Whitten. So he's on first base with nobody out. And Geronimo Pena. And that is a long drive deep to left field. Over Phillips' head. It's gone. A 2-run home run. And the Cardinals are back on top. "4-3. My. So the bases have been cleared with that 2-run homer. There's nobody out, and Tom Pagnozzi. That's a 31, and that is a mile high, or excuse me, it's blooped to shallow center, just out of Gomez's reach, and it is a base hit for Pagnozzi. 3 hits in a row for the Cardinals. There's man on first and still no one out. And here's Tewksbury. And Tewksbury lays one down. And it's bunted to the left side. Travis Fryman fields that and throws Tewksbury out. And it's a successful sacrifice that moves Pagnozzi up to second base. So it's a 5-3 sack for the first out. And Pagnozzi moves up to second. So there's 1 out, man on second, back to the top of the order. And Bernard Gilkey, who is 1 for 3 with a run scored. And that is skied near the stands, but Travis Fryman takes it in foul territory for out number 2. So Pagnozzi's on second with 2 outs, and Ozzie Smith. And that's a grounder to second base. Tosses over to Whitaker tosses over to Fielder for the 3rd out. But the Cardinals score 2 runs on Geronimo Pena's home run, and after 7 innings of play, they lead the Tigers 4-3. Here in the top of the 8th, it's going to be Lou Whitaker, Travis Fryman, and Cecil Fielder. Tewksbury's still out there. And that's a strikeout. That is Tewksbury's 7th strikeout and the first out here in the top of the 8th. Here's third baseman Travis Fryman. He's 1 for 2. Or excuse me, 1 for 3. And he strikes out 2 in a row for Tewksbury. 2nd out and his 8th strikeout of the game. So 2 outs, nobody on for Cecil Fielder. And that's a deep drive, whale hit to left. Gilkey watches it go over his head. It's out of here and gone. Solo shot for Cecil Fielder. And that ties the game. We're tied at 4 now. All right, 2 outs, nobody on for Mickey Tettleton. And that's a routine grounder to Jeffries at first base, and he tosses over to Tewksbury covering for the 3rd out, but not before the Tigers tie the game on Fielder's solo shot, and after 7.5 innings of play, we are tied at 4. Leading off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 8th is Greg Jeffries. And that's a tracer over second baseman's head into center field, and he's going to hold up at first. So we got Jeffries at first on a base hit with nobody out. And Ray Langford. Langford's going to be swinging away here. And that's a fly ball to left field. Phillips is under that, makes the catch. And Jeffries holds up at first base, and there's one away here in the bottom of the 8th. Cardinals third baseman Todd Zeile. And that is a foul ball that's caught by catcher Mickey Tettleton for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Mark Whitten. 2 outs, man on first base. And Whitten strikes out. That's Belcher's, let's see, 3rd strikeout. And that's it for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 8th. And we go to the 9th inning with the score tied at 4. Cardinals are going to get a little bit of action in their bullpen. It's going to be Rene Aroca is going to start warming up for the Cardinals. And Junior Felix is leading off here in the top of the 9th. 61. And that's a 42. And he's hit by that pitch. My goodness. So, Junior Felix is on first base with nobody out. Chris Gomez at the plate. Let's see. And Gomez lays down a bunt. And it's bunted foul to the screen. Strike 1. He's going to try it again with the 0-1 count. And it's bunted to third base, no play at second. So Zeile has to toss over to Jeffries at first, and it's a successful sacrifice. That's a 5-3. There's one away. Felix moves up to second base, and here's Juan Samuel, who has homered in this game. So there's a man on second with 1 out. For Juan Samuel. And that strikes him out for out number 2. That's Tewksbury's 9th strikeout. And that's going to be it for Belcher. Eric Davis is going to pinch hit for him. So his day is through. Let's see. So the last batter he faced was Whitten. And it's going to be Eric Davis pinch hitting. And Buddy Groom is going to warm up for the Tigers. So Davis pinch hit in the top of the 9th. With a man on second, 2 outs. And just missed ball 4. He might have been pinched. Or just missed for ball 4, excuse me. So now we got runners on first and second. With 2 outs, and we're back to the top of the order, and T. Phillips. And ball 4 loads the bases. Oh my goodness. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Tewksbury is staying in there. Roca's just about ready. Top of the order, 2 outs, bases loaded for the Tigers. that's ball 4. He walks in a run. My goodness. He moves up to second. He's to third. Whitaker walks. That's going to be it for Tewksbury. All right, so Roca's coming in. He is a grade C pitcher when he's used in relief. And he has a Y and Z modifier. Okay, so he will enter the game. Tewksbury's day is done. So Rene Roca is the new Cardinals pitcher. Bases are still loaded. And the Tigers lead now. There's 2 outs, but they lead 5-4 after Tewksbury walked in that run. All right. So this is Travis Fryman. I probably made a mistake there. 65. That's a 35. And he strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Fryman. Or excuse me, first strikeout for Roca and for Fryman. But it's out number 3. And the Tigers do score a run. And I did not get anyone. Oh, yes, Buddy Groom. He's ready to pitch for the Tigers. He's a grade C pitcher. And he has an X modifier. And he's going to face Pena, Pagnozzi, and the pitcher spot. All right. So here we are, bottom of the 9th. Cardinals are down by a run, 5-4. And this is their last chance. Here's Pena. And that's upstairs for ball 1. So 1-0 count to Pena. And that's chopped to the pitcher, Groom. He tosses over the fielder, and there's 1 away. Here's Tom Pagnozzi. And that's a high hopper fielded by shortstop Chris Gomez. Tosses over the fielder for out number 2. And the Cardinals are down to their last out. And Roca is not going to take that. It's going to be Brian Jordan. And he's pinch hitting in the bottom of the 9th. All right. Base is empty, 2 outs. Last chance for the Cardinals is Brian Jordan. And we are going to his second column. And that is a 2-out double. Cardinals are in business. So Jordan's on second base with 2 outs. And Bernard Gilkey comes to the plate. But that's a 1-hopper to second baseman Lou Whitaker. Tosses over to Cecil Fielder for the 3rd and final out. And the Cardinals threaten but do not score and lose this game at home to the Tigers 5-4. Get some totals. Tigers had 5 runs on six hits. They committed no errors. The Cardinals had 4 runs on 10 hits. And one error with Pena's error. So the winning pitcher is Groom. Buddy Groom gets the win. And Bob Tewksbury gets the loss. And the Tigers will travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies in game number 7. So that won't be for a while. And the Cardinals will host the Angels in game 5, which will be an elimination game. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know there was a couple mistakes, but I still had a blast doing it. And until next time, take care.